Alright, good evening everyone. My name is Benjamin, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to a little discussion about redistricting. Now, I wanted to see what a fair Maryland would look like, considering the Maryland state legislature overrode Governor Hogan's veto of their proposed congressional map. And to be honest, their actual map, which you can find basically anywhere at this point, is pretty extreme gerrymander, to be honest. I mean, Maryland's been heavily gerrymandered for a while now, and I wanted to see what would actually Maryland reasonably look like if the map was drawn pretty compactly, pretty fairly, and keeping keeping communities together in as reasonable a way as possible. There's some areas that I'm not too happy about, but the population deviations are spot on, so I'm not going to be too upset about kind of how the second is a little bit finagly. It's mostly because Baltimore is just too small to be its own district, unlike Denver, which actually can be its own district. Ooh, that's a little bit weird when I turn my head back and forth. A little bit of lighting glitch between the first district and the rest of the map, but it may just be my eyes. The fourth kind of is in a no man's land, but that's partially because this area is a lot more rural than a lot of the rest of the state. The first and the eighth being the most rural districts. But the fifth also goes into the DC suburbs, the southeastern ones, in fact. Whereas the sixth and seventh, I mean, those are DC burbs pretty much. The fourth kind of has to cover up some of the Baltimore suburbs, some of the DC exurbs, kind of all of that area. The third is basically the northern, eastern, westernmost Baltimore burbs. Baltimore and the South Baltimore burbs are here. I could have probably done a little bit better and gotten rid of this little weird salient here, but overall it's pretty fair. And of course, the eighth is the Panhandle and very rural. Now, I actually didn't look at any partisan data or any racial data for this, but this is very similar to what the Citizens Commission that Governor Hogan put together to look at how to redistrict Maryland. And their map was pretty fair. If we look and switch over to the partisan lean, we have one extremely red district, one pretty solidly red district, and two, three, four, five solid blue districts and one not so solid blue district. Um, and if we look at the statistics, we've got we've got almost three majority black districts, with one being a pretty heavy majority black district. And that's really the largest minority group in Maryland, so it's kind of hard to give, say, a majority Asian or a majority Hispanic district. There's potential that there could be a majority Hispanic district, but actually, if we look at the overall population, Maryland should probably have four majority minority districts, and this map actually creates it. And this district is it's not really competitive if we look at it. If we go here, I can actually change the election data. President 2020, the 8th actually becomes a lot less red. And if we flip it over, turn partisan lean on there, turn it off here, we can actually kind of see why is the 8th would actually have to stretch over into this area in order to get it. By the way, the first district actually goes into this section of the state, the past first district, though Hogan, as well as quite a few people, are going to sue to get rid of to basically put in the commission's map. Though there could also be ways to create some competitive districts. If we zoom in, the fifth could easily encompass a lot of this area instead, which would make it a lot less blue, but not enough to really change anything. Um, this district could have basically this city taken away and throw it in and put it up into northern suburbs there. Um, and if we want to change it, just as a comparison, here's what the composite's going to show when we do that comparison. A lot more red up here, a lot more down in this area, up along the coast, and a lot more in the suburbs as well, which is going to be interesting if we really want to look at things going forward. Obviously, Senator 2018, if we switch to that data set, both of these get lighter, and that's not unexpected, I don't think. Flip it over to Governor 2018, well, shouldn't be too shocking that Hogan would have won 4 out of the 8 districts, and there's a reason why we flip it over to here, and really these were the only areas that didn't vote for Larry Hogan. It's interesting that the Inner Harbor actually voted for Larry Hogan. That kind of is a little surprising to me that the Inner Harbor, which is this part, voted for Hogan. Maybe it shouldn't be. I'm not too familiar with the political geography of Maryland outside of you've got a very, very blue area surrounded right in this area that has a ton of people, surrounded by mostly red outside of it. And then we flip over to the Attorney General in 2018, and, well, yeah. President 2016 doesn't really change things. Senator in 2016, that gets a little bit more competitive. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, to be honest, it's not an unfair map, I don't think. You can make an argument that there should be one competitive district in Maryland, as well as 2 Republican and 5 Democratic ones, because the state is a lot closer to a 5-3 split than it is a 6-2 split in terms of the overall partisanship of the people there. So, yeah, I could definitely see it. But the map that actually got passed is really, really bad. And it's not fair by any stretch of the imagination. And that actually goes for a lot of the maps in other states, and that includes Republican maps. For example, if we were to look at, say, North Carolina's map, yeah, it's a map that favors Republicans, but the Democrats don't have the greatest political geography in North Carolina. So it's not difficult for the Republicans to draw a map, especially if they follow the rules that have been laid out by the rest of the state. It's not too surprising that even a map that's drawn following the rules is going to favor the Republicans, even though the Democrats were the ones who effectively devised those rules. You know, not splitting counties where possible, keeping them compact, all that stuff. And it's because of the geography that the Democrats have, where you basically have Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, all the way out to Durham, Raleigh, Wake Forest, and Chapel Hill, this area, which is all blue. A pretty blue area in Fayetteville, and then this area is actually pretty blue as well, this little northern bit right here. The reality is that the Democrats really have pretty bad geography in North Carolina. And in order to get a Democratic majority in North Carolina, or even close to it, you kind of have to actively gerrymander in their favor. You know, if we look at another state where the Democrats just have god-awful geography, it's Tennessee, where the only reasonable areas where you can have a blue district out of 9 are Nashville and Memphis. And it's not even realistically possible to draw a third unless you really want to try doing some creative gerrymandering. Another state that we can talk about for redistricting and how people are going to argue that it's a gerrymander is Wisconsin. And to a lesser extent, Michigan. But Wisconsin in particular, the Democrats have really bad geography. And it's basically because their votes are Madison and Milwaukee. And that's a little bit it. Green Bay is competitive. Kenosha is competitive. The rest really isn't. I mean, the area that used to be the third congressional, or the area that is going to still be the third congressional district along the Mississippi River in this part of the state, that area used to be pretty competitive, but it's just not anymore. And another area where the Democrats just have garbage geography, Minnesota. You have St. Paul and you have Duluth. And again, that's basically it now. And I could go on and on and on and explain that Democrats have pretty garbage geography in a lot of places. New York might be an exception because you have Democratic voters in a lot of different areas. I mean, you've got New York City, but in terms of being able to maximize your redistricting capabilities, Massachusetts is another one where Democrats have great geography, the Republicans have none. But you have enough Democrats that you can avoid having a Republican district that isn't upstate or western New York. Pennsylvania, Democrats have decent geography there. It's not garbage. Ohio, they have terrible, terrible, terrible geography. Let's see another state where they have bad geography. Nevada, actually, is a good example. You have a decent amount in Reno. Democrats can win Washoe County, but the only other county they can win is Clark County. Everything else is Republican. And the reality is the only part of Clark County that the Democrats can win, Las Vegas. And outside of that, again, like I said, it's pretty garbage. And even in Reno, it's really just the downtown Reno that votes for Democrats. And I could go on and on, but this video is going to drag on if I do. But I don't really see the Democrats' geography getting any better, if that makes any sense. I really, really, really don't. So, anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all next time. Take it easy. Have a very, very nice evening.